Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Awakening Wednesday. Tonight we have one of our divine angels in the house. So happy to have her with us. And just to give you an opportunity of some of the wonderful things that we have going on here. Oh, my little cheat sheet here. To let you know what's happening, what's going on here at the center, because we are a busy little place. Next Wednesday, we will have Crystal Bowls with Maria Teresa. It's a wonderful opportunity to come in and just woosah and allow the frequency and the energy just to take your mind and your body. And if you have some blocks in your chakras, it's a beautiful way for that to get unblocked. As well, every third Thursday of the month, Reverend Angela is here, and she will be doing an Awakening Heart gathering. Ah, how sweet it is. Our Wednesday quote today. Wednesday is a great day to have gratitude for all the blessings in your life. How sweet it is. So, without further ado, let us get ready for our divine, sweet Margo Alora that will be leading and guiding us on this wonderful, magical, mystical tour. There we go. So now, let's bring Margo.
Is it on? Yeah. Okay. Do we know we're on? Oh. Good evening. I thought I could see my picture up there and know that we're on, but we're on. So glad that we're here. So this is an opportunity for us to delve into the concept of spiritual tools. Now, when I began coming to Science of Mind in the 80s, it was primarily thought of as you take a class, and that's how you pick it up. Or you come on Sundays, and at that time it was Reverend Kathy Hearn who could give you a lot, and each minister does. And now, I believe that you and I have matured to the point that we have tools. And there's this fellow, he's a friend of mine, he's a therapist, and he talks about the tool belt, with tools to get through life. And it seems very appropriate that we have a tool belt with spiritual tools. Oh, I've been told that it'd be nice if I introduced myself. My name is Margo Alora. I'm a practitioner here at Universal Spirit Center. I'm also a spiritualist minister in that religion. And I've been happily playing, happily learning, happily expanding in all this since the 80s when I came back to San Diego. So we were talking about spiritual tools, and I'll ask my audience, what do you think spiritual tools, can you give me an example of something that you have that you would consider, and there's no wrong answers and no right answers. Oh, and we have prayer and meditation, yes. and song. Songs, yes. And a book or two. I mean, there's just so much. What we're finding is that as we grow and as we expand we are spiritual beings having human experiences. And now the two are invited to play together, to have the spiritual being always expanding as God, and the divine is always expanding, and the human, so that we are finding that we go to our heart for decisions, for an expansion, as we then ask our brain to put it into action. So we're doing a dance that is showing up as, I feel more capable, and I think you do too. I feel more in touch with the divine. I know that I do not treat the divine as an ATM machine. God, I want a girlfriend, and I want a house, and I want a car. Those kinds of interactions are pretty much behind. Now what we see ourselves as interacting, holding hands with the divine, and knowing that the way that we participate shows up in our own spirituality. So that's what I'm focusing now on, the spiritual tools, because you and I are seeing ourselves as reciprocal. So I give God love, and certainly love comes back. I give God smiles or admiration, but there's a reciprocity that is happening that really touches us and our own maturity. And it's a lovely time to be alive, I think, right now, in this spiritual aliveness and the expansion that we are experiencing. So I just wrote some things I want to make sure we have on here. So I was talking about spiritual tools to enter a new path, and that's what we often want to do, to add a new light to our life. We can't stay stagnant because the divine is never stagnant. We have to choose to change or be the change. And it can be little, and it can be big. Marianne Williamson was saying that, I love this, we are birth doulas. I didn't even know what a doula was until I moved back here. So that the death doula is noticing in ourselves what it is time to let die. I've noticed I've been working on something, and it's something that I really pretty much got from my mother. And as a spiritualist minister, I still interact with her, and I know that we know that life is everlasting. But of all the wonderful things I got from her, this thing about scarcity is something that I pretty much picked up. And I am letting that dwindle and die and let go of and go into the nothingness that it came from. And it seems to be a process, but it's a good process because then there's an opening in me. So we are birth and death doulas. And then one more thing I want to do before we get into this. In-depth experience of spirituality, we're exploring freedom with the divine. Now that's something that when I was young I never heard of. Freedom with the divine, it was much more, God was on a cloud, probably an old man, and it was freedom was not a word that I would never have heard with that concept. So using these tools, we are like forgiveness to release the chains that are holding us to surface thinking. Now that is exciting to me. And I personally believe it's exciting to the divine. It's like, oh, yes, dear ones, let the surface thinking, let it deepen to a heart and brain felt experience. Establishing, oh, I love this too, establishing an intimacy to blossom with spirituality. How marvelous that is, an intimacy with spirituality. A heartfelt knowing. It's nothing I have to explain. It's nothing I have to defend. We each have an intimacy with spirituality, with the divine. So, I'm also pretty practical. And what I have found lately is that I had a challenge, and it came from me. Abraham says, we send out rockets of desire. And I sent out a desire that I would get to share my thoughts with more people. Be careful what you ask for, because what came back was, oh, great, you can do podcasts, Margo. And I'm loving them, I'm doing them. What came with the podcast was technology. Oh, goody. So, came right here was this challenge. Number one, to give up this silly thought that I can't do technology. Just, let that one just go. Dig a hole and bury it. But also, how is this going to happen, and how am I going to, I think I like the word allow. How am I going to allow this education, this expansion? And it came through some, one person who was in a class that I was facilitating at a spiritualist church 20 years ago. I also performed their wedding, and the next year their renewal of their wedding. So, and then I hadn't seen her for, I guess, 18 or so years. And she showed up, and she said, now I'm doing podcasts as a medium, and she has a lot of beautiful things going on. And mostly she is doing podcasts. So she said she would help me. Now that is what I would call a God story or a miracle. So that has been happening. Now, as I believe we're born with certain gifts, and one of my things about me is I am an educator. So I went inside my brain, and I went, okay, now, what's happening in here, in my brain, that is coming up with this thing called technology. So first, I asked for guidance. I believe in angels, ancestors, guides. So I asked for my one guide I've known, believe she's been with me forever, which is just Miriam. And so she and I went inside my brain. And what I saw, visualized, experienced was a closet. And what I said is, I want to go somewhere where I'm really good. I'm comfortable. I want to know what that looks like. So I opened that closet door. It smelled good. It was pretty, very well organized. All the clothes were color coordinated. Everything was on the hanging up perfectly. This was a room that I could really enjoy. I had pictures of Wayne Dyer, and You know, I could just stand in there and know that spirituality is just, it's working for me. So Miriam and I decided, okay, let's look at the room of technology. So we go out of that room, we open the creaky door, and it doesn't smell very good, and it's very dark, and the clothes are hanging upside down practically, touching the floor, and the rod that holds everything was rusted and really very inadequate. Now, what I've come to believe as an educator and knowing the way I personally work, I decided to only be in there and do 10%. You know, let's be honest. Maybe some people can come in and just go whoosh, but that's not the way I work. And Miriam knew it, my guide. So she and I went around, we decided to put the rod back up because you can't hang clothes up if the rod isn't, and we shined it up. We also opened the windows so it smells better. And then there was just a little bit of time, and I looked at some of the clothes, and I actually packed them up in a box to give away, but I left some. And then we left the room. Now, we went back to the room that's spirituality. To go through there and just remember, you know, that I wanted to expand, and also I had a room where I had done a lot of, I don't like the word work, maybe expansion. So then we stayed there a little bit, and then I came back to myself. So guess what I'd like us to do this evening? So I'd like you to visualize and think about, what do you do well? And that'll be one closet. You got them? I'd like to hear, oh, does that mean it has to go back on? It's on, okay. I'd like to hear from you, what do you think you do well? And put it into the microphone. What do you think you do well?
Connection.
Connection with?
People.
People.
Connecting people to other people.
Ah.
Writing.
Writing, okay. When I was doing this at another place, one woman said mothering. I thought, isn't that something? Okay, so we have that room established. And what do you think your opportunity for growth, which room would that be? Think about it. Yeah, go ahead, Megan.
Mine would be compassion.
Ah, okay.
Maybe organization of my desk.
Of your desk, okay. And if you are watching, and you've done this with me at another time, you can choose the same rooms, or you can choose different ones. I'm still on the technology room. That one, I haven't left that one yet, but you know, I could leave it at 50% and go and come back, but you can, there's nothing here except what comes from you. There's nothing, nobody says this is the way it has to be. You say what it works for you, where you want to go. Okay, so I invite you to shut your eyes and take a moment and invite a guide to go with you. This could be a hero. This could be a family member. Right now we're thinking of guides that are alive but without physical bodies. Could be an animal. And let's go to the room where you know things are working, things are popping, things are the way you want them to be. You open up the door and notice what color your room is. Does it have windows? How does it smell? How are the clothes organized? Are there any flowers or trees? Any animals? Just notice how this room fits you and you fit the room. And when you're ready, leave that room with your guide and go to the room where there's a challenge. And determine how much you wish to accomplish. Could be 5%, could be 30%. And slowly open the door. Without judgment, notice the room. Is there any light? Are any clothes hanging on their hangers? What's the smell like in this room? And go ahead and make some adjustments. Notice how you feel when you are making a difference in a challenge. Notice how it feels when you're expanding just a little. Notice how it feels as your spiritual beingness is supporting your humanness. And when you're ready, leave that room and go back to the room where you have made yourself comfortable and happy and accomplished. Admire what you've organized. Admire this room. And when you're ready, leave that room and come back here. And slowly open your eyes. How was it? Any surprises? We're going to have the microphone up. Sure.
One of the surprises I had in the room that I felt I needed to work on, which was compassion, I walked into the room and it was a light, pink light just flowing through the room. And I was kind of shown that I need to give myself grace and that compassion means different things to different people and that I can't give everything to everyone and I need to understand that. So that was very helpful.
How did it feel?
There was a nice energy in the room. It was kind of a flowing energy, and it just kind of took me along with it. And it allowed me to feel more grace for myself.
See, that's what I was going for, this feeling.
Yeah.
And yes, wonderful.
It felt very good. It felt
Yeah.
really good.
How did it look, the room?
Glowing. The room was glowing with a pink light. Yeah. So I felt very comfortable and very welcomed into that room.
Wow.
It needed to be cleaned up a little bit. All my warm blankets and cozy stuff was all on the floor and needed to be hung up and folded. So
Noticed.
yes, so I took care of that.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you. Wait a minute, what about the other room? What was the other room?
The other room I felt very comfortable in. It was
What
very,
was it?
It was writing.
Oh, yeah, writing.
Yeah. It was very cozy. It was a blue color, like almost an ocean blue color. There was a cat in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very tidy and very comfortable with everything I like pictures and all that stuff. Big window. Big window. So there's a lot of light in there.
Great.
It was nice.
Thank you.
I like the compassion you have for yourself in that room. I think it was flowing for you.
Tell me about the room you were most comfortable with first.
I really liked that room. It was a white room. It had lots of windows, had like a little seating area looking over big windows that looked outside, where there were fields and green and beautiful nature outside. And my guide was a dog that has crossed over many years ago, and that dog was there, and so that was very nice. Yeah. And then I think I kind of got lost and didn't really see much in the room that I need to work on.
Where did you get lost? In the hall or?
I'm not quite sure where I was.
What do you think that means? If it means anything.
Either I need to get more rest, or I just don't want to look at my desk.
Ask me what I think it means.
What do you think it means, Margo?
Maybe it's time for you to either have a different desk or no desk. You know, who you are feels like it's bigger than the desks you have. You are growing and you are connecting other people, and you know, you are the mother that many people wish they were. So, I don't know, maybe several desks or different ways of seeing this desk, because I don't feel like this desk is reflecting you, because you're huge. You have grown and done your work, you know, so what kind of, if you were magic, what kind of desk would you like for yourself?
Yes, I would love a much bigger desk, but that would require a much bigger room.
Well, we're not going to worry about that. You know, we really aren't, because I think, does it feel to you right that, you know, this desk it's limiting?
Yes.
And I haven't experienced you as being limiting. So, okay, so
But then again, if I have a bigger desk, it would just be a bigger mess.
oh, good point. Okay, so what can you do? What can you do to acknowledge your hugeness, your bigness, your growing, your expansion, and not be limited by, what would you call it, neatness or organization, or what can you do?
Yeah, I think it's having compassion for myself. That it's okay that it's the way it is, and it ebbs and flows. You know, occasionally I'll go through these cleaning spurts where I get 10%, 50%, 80% better, and then it comes back, and it's an ebb and flow.
Yeah, and I'm seeing a pie, which is, I think this came about 30 or 40 years ago, that many of us do not experience life linearly, A, B, C, D, it just, but it's like a big pie. So you could, maybe you could have a circle or something, and you could see it as a pie. So, you know, this piece of pie is messy, but this one's working, and this one I'm growing into, so that you don't limit your life by what you're seeing. What do you think?
I agree, but it also, just like the lights irked you, it irks me that I have to work in a space where it's messy. And yes, I could clean it up, but I choose not to.
How about choosing to clean up part of it?
Right.
You know, because I still see this pie.
Yes.
Because see, what I'm not hearing from you is there's a lot of organization there. Maybe it is messy, but there's a lot of organization. Because I know you, I can tell you that. So I'm looking for a way to acknowledge both with you. So I still like the pie idea. I'm going to send you a pie, and you're going to eat a piece. Yeah, you're going to eat a piece and say, that one's messy, but this one's...
You can send me as many pies as you want. Thank you.
Sounds good. Okay, so this is just one way that you and I can have this spiritual tool working for us. And I feel like it's an opportunity for us to always go to what works. That's why I think I was reacting, because in education, you simply, I mean, that's part of it. It's what's working, and then what are you expanding, what's working. So the spiritual tools are a way for us to put them on, you know, on our belt and have access to them. What do you think? Do you think it's something you could, and you've done this one before with me, right? 3 times? Thank you. Making me realize that I need to revisit technology thing a little bit more. So, are there any questions? Otherwise? Okay, otherwise let's complete with an awareness that expansion is a divine right and a divine part of us, and we have support from guides, and we have this beating of the heart from the divine always with us, encouraging us to expand as the divine is always expanding. So we are blessed, and we are a blessing. Thank you. Bing. Oops, I'm not supposed to ask you for encouraging words? For closing words. Uh-oh. So you can put in some encouraging words in there.
Sun is shining, the weather is sweet, yeah. Make you wanna move your dancing feet now. know